By the time the third shuttle full of alien diplomats landed outside the vineyard, I already knew my wedding was doomed. Not because of cold feet. Not because marriage scared me. And definitely not because of the 7-foot insectoid ambassador currently staring at the chocolate fountain like it contained classified military intelligence.
No.
My wedding was doomed because my mother and my sister were attending at the same time. There are too many flowers, Ambassador Threx said beside me. That's your concern? I asked. The alien adjusted the ceremonial translator hanging from his neck. In most species, excessive floral displays indicate either fertility rituals or poison warnings. It's both, I muttered. The translator beeped. Clarification, it announced loudly. The groom has declared the wedding biologically hazardous. 3 bridesmaids slowly turned toward me. Fantastic, I whispered. We're off to a strong start. Threx leaned closer. Are the brightly colored females your combat attendants? They're bridesmaids. Combat attendants, he repeated confidently into his wrist recorder. I rubbed my face. 3 years working as a cultural liaison for the Galactic Coalition had taught me many things. Humans terrified aliens. Not physically. Emotionally. Apparently no species in the known galaxy combined romance, alcohol, family resentment, public dancing, and financial pressure into one event. Then they discovered weddings. Now, alien researchers treated human marriage ceremonies like National Geographic documentaries narrated by lunatics. My fiancée, Lena, stepped out of the bridal suite at that exact moment, and every intelligent thought left my brain permanently. The dress should have been illegal. Not overly revealing. Just unfair. Elegant white silk wrapped around curves specifically designed by the universe to ruin my concentration forever. Her dark hair rested over one shoulder, and those sharp brown eyes immediately locked onto me. Then she smiled. Game over. You look terrified, she said. I am terrified.
Ah.
She walked over and fixed my tie. Wedding nerves. My mother arrived 15 minutes early and already insulted the flower arrangements. That's not nerves, Lena replied. That's survival instinct. Threx suddenly stepped forward and bowed deeply. Lena blinked. Why is the giant bug man bowing to me? The translator crackled. Among our people, it said, we honor the dominant female before territorial union ceremonies. Lena stared at me. I sighed. Please don't encourage them. She looked directly at the ambassador. Smart species. Threx made a clicking sound of approval and recorded another note. I grabbed her hand before the aliens decided to build her a shrine. You okay? I asked quietly. Her expression softened instantly. That was my favorite thing about Lena. Around everyone else, she was sharp edges and dangerous smiles. Around me, she became warm. Your mother already asked if I was planning to keep working after the wedding, she said. Oh God. She also asked whether my dress was rented. I closed my eyes. Relax. Lena squeezed my hand. I only imagined pushing her into the fountain twice. That low. I'm trying to mature emotionally. I laughed despite myself. That was another thing about her. She could turn disaster into entertainment, which was useful because my family specialized in disaster. Across the venue entrance, my older sister Vanessa arrived like she was attending the Met Gala instead of a wedding. Huge sunglasses. Designer handbag. Husband trailing behind carrying 6 shopping bags for some reason. My mother rushed toward her immediately. There it is, I thought. The favorite child sprint. Vanessa air-kissed Mom dramatically. Oh my God, parking here is horrible, she complained. Do they not have premium valet? My mother immediately turned toward me. Your sister had to walk almost 30 feet. Brave, I said. Lena snorted. Vanessa finally noticed us. Her eyes scanned Lena's dress with the subtlety of a tax audit. Well, she said slowly. That's very bold. Thank you, Lena replied sweetly. Your surgeon did amazing work too. I physically choked. Behind me, one of the alien scientists whispered something urgently. Their translator spoke. The silver-haired female has launched an opening dominance attack. Vanessa blinked. What? Nothing, I said quickly. Please stop translating. Too late. Two more aliens began recording aggressively. One whispered, "Human-female warfare begins before ceremonial mating." Fascinating. Vanessa rolled her eyes and walked away toward the reception hall while her exhausted husband mouthed sorry in my direction. Poor bastard looked like he hadn't slept peacefully since 2023. Mom immediately followed Vanessa like a loyal assistant. Threx watched carefully. "The elder female prioritizes the firstborn offspring," he observed. "Yep. You appear unsurprised, because she's been doing it my entire life." The alien tilted his head. "Then why maintain contact with the parental unit?" I opened my mouth, then closed it. Honestly? Good question. Before I could answer, Lena stepped closer beside me. "Because humans are weird about family," she said calmly. Threx looked between us. "Yet you remain bonded." "She's the upgrade," I answered immediately. Lena smiled without looking at me. That tiny smile hit harder than alcohol. The ceremony started 30 minutes later under the vineyard lights, while the sunset turned the sky orange behind us. For 10 beautiful minutes, everything actually felt perfect. No fighting, no insults, no alien misunderstandings. Just Lena's hand in mine while she tried not to laugh at how nervous I looked. "You're shaking," she whispered during the vows. "I'm standing next to the hottest woman on Earth in front of 400 people and 6 alien governments." Fair point. Then the officiant asked whether anyone objected to the union. 3 alien guards instantly stood up. My soul left my body. "No," I hissed. Threx grabbed them frantically. "Incorrect protocol. Sit down." The guests stared in confusion as the armored aliens slowly sat back down. The officiant blinked twice. As I was saying, Lena buried her face against my shoulder, trying not to laugh. I whispered, "I'm never surviving this." "Yes, you are," she whispered back. "Because now I'm legally responsible for you." Something warm settled in my chest hearing that. Nobody in my family had ever made me feel chosen before. Useful sometimes. Ignored often. Compared constantly. Vanessa was the successful one. Vanessa was the stylish one. Vanessa got the praise, the apartment, the attention. Meanwhile, I got practical birthday gifts and occasional disappointment. But Lena looked at me like I mattered. Like I was enough. That scared me more than the aliens. The ceremony finally ended with applause, music, and one alien diplomat openly crying because human vows were apparently psychologically overwhelming. Then came the reception, which was where everything truly began collapsing. I noticed my mother already drinking her second glass of wine before the appetizers arrived. That was dangerous. 3 glasses meant passive-aggressive comments. 4 glasses meant family secrets. 5 glasses meant someone cried in a bathroom. Lena noticed too. "You just made that face people make before natural disasters," she whispered. "My mother's entering phase 3. "What's phase 3? She starts comparing me to Vanessa publicly. Lena took a slow sip of champagne. "Good," she said calmly. I frowned. "Good." She smiled without warmth. "I've been patient all day." Somewhere behind us, an alien recorder clicked rapidly. The translator whispered, "Dominant female preparing counteroffensive." Dinner began peacefully enough to make me suspicious. That should have been my first warning. The vineyard lights glowed overhead while soft music drifted through the reception hall. Waiters carried expensive food around tables full of drunk relatives pretending they weren't judging each other's life choices. Across the room, 3 alien scientists were analyzing the wedding cake like it might hatch. One of them poked the frosting carefully. "Is the dessert symbolic?" it asked. "Yes," I answered tiredly. "It symbolizes death." The translator beeped. "Marriage begins with ceremonial financial suffering." "Correct." The alien immediately wrote that down. At the head table, Lena leaned against my shoulder while casually scrolling through the disaster unfolding on social media. "Oh, good," she murmured. "Your aunt already uploaded 43 blurry photos of me chewing." Family tradition. She tagged me as future incubator. I closed my eyes. "I hate everyone." "No, you don't." She kissed my cheek lightly. "You just fantasize about escape." Honestly fair. For a few minutes, things actually felt manageable. Vanessa stayed occupied bragging to cousins about luxury vacations she definitely couldn't afford. My mother laughed too loudly at every sentence Vanessa said. Vanessa's husband drank whiskey, like a man trying to erase memories. And the aliens remained mostly harmless after we confiscated the translator from the one attempting to interview the bartender about human mating intoxication rituals. Then my mother stood up with a wine glass. My stomach immediately tightened. "Oh no," I whispered. Lena glanced sideways. "How bad?" She's holding the wine glass with both hands. And that means speech mode. Across the room, Ambassador Threx noticed the sudden tension at our table. The massive insectoid diplomat slowly straightened in his chair. Two alien guards immediately became alert. Their armor hummed softly. Lena noticed. Why are the space cockroaches preparing for combat? They think emotional tension leads to violence. To be fair, she said, eyeing my family, they're not wrong. Mom tapped her glass dramatically. The room quieted. "Oh God," I muttered. "My beautiful son," Mom announced loudly, already slurring slightly. "Finally married." Polite applause. I relaxed a little. Maybe this would be fine. Then she kept talking. "We always worried about him because he was so sensitive growing up." There it is. Lena slowly sat upright. Vanessa smirked into her champagne. Mom continued. "But thankfully, he found someone willing to handle his personality." Several guests laughed awkwardly. I felt heat crawl up my neck. And the worst part? This wasn't new. My entire life had been one long public comparison against Vanessa. She was confident, stylish, aggressive, successful. I was nice. Apparently being emotionally functional counted as a character flaw in my family. Threx leaned toward another diplomat. "The maternal authority figure weakens the male before pair bond consolidation," the translator whispered. "Psychological dominance display," another alien agreed. Then my mother smiled proudly toward Vanessa. "And, of course," she continued, "we're passing the apartment his parents gave to your sister." The universe stopped breathing. Even the DJ froze. Somewhere in the distance, a wine glass shattered. I slowly turned toward Lena, because I knew that expression. Calm Lena was dangerous. Smiling Lena was catastrophic. She gently placed her champagne glass down. Then she looked directly at my mother. "Good," she said sweetly, "because after tonight, your daughter's moving back into it." Silence. Absolute, horrifying silence. The kind where people suddenly remember they left ovens on at home. Vanessa blinked first. "What the hell does that mean?" Before Lena could answer, every alien at the reception stood up simultaneously. Armor unfolded. Blue emergency lights flashed across their uniforms. One diplomat slammed a device onto the table. The translator shouted, "Alert! Human female has issued territorial displacement challenge." Half the guests screamed. The other half grabbed phones. I buried my face in my hands. "Please stop activating military protocols at my wedding." Too late. Alien guards formed defensive positions around the buffet. One terrified bridesmaid whispered, "Why are they protecting the shrimp?" Threx clicked rapidly in panic. "The dominant female has announced intent to remove rival claimant from inherited territory." "It's sarcasm," I shouted. The translator processed for 2 seconds. Then announced louder, "Human sarcasm detected. Threat level unclear." Vanessa stood up, so quickly her chair nearly tipped backward. "Excuse me?" Lena crossed her legs calmly. "You heard me." Mom looked horrified. "Lena, this is completely inappropriate." "No," Lena replied. "What's inappropriate is humiliating your son at his own wedding while treating your 34-year-old daughter like a Make-A-Wish child with credit card debt." Several cousins choked on their drinks. Vanessa's face turned bright red. "I have a successful business." Lena nodded sympathetically. "Instagram affiliate links are to business, sweetheart." A drunk uncle whispered, "Jesus Christ," with genuine admiration. Across the room, an alien scientist recorded furiously. Human female attacks with smile while socially disemboweling opponent. Terrifying species. Vanessa pointed aggressively. "You think you're better than me?" "No," Lena answered instantly. I think I pay my own bills. Different conversation. The room exploded into whispers. Even the waiters stopped moving. Vanessa's husband suddenly muttered into his whiskey glass. She's technically correct. Vanessa turned slowly toward him. You're supposed to support me. I supported you through 3 fake startup companies and whatever that yoga crystal phase was. That crystal business was growing. You sold 2 rocks to your hairdresser, Vanessa. I almost inhaled a breadstick laughing. Mom slammed her wine glass down. Why are we attacking family right now? Lena finally lost the sweet smile. And somehow that was scarier. Because your son spent years being treated like the backup child while Vanessa got rewarded for existing. My chest tightened unexpectedly. Nobody had ever said it out loud before. Not publicly. Not in front of everyone. Lena continued calmly. You gave her an apartment. You gave him criticism. Mom scoffed. That's ridiculous. Really? Lena asked. Because tonight alone you called him sensitive, implied marrying him was charity, and praised Vanessa for inheriting property she can barely manage. Vanessa looked furious. Mom looked cornered. And I just sat there stunned because someone was finally fighting for me. Not quietly. Not privately. Publicly. Like I mattered enough to defend. Threx slowly approached my chair. Are you safe? He whispered seriously. I honestly don't know anymore. The alien looked toward Lena with visible fear. She is extraordinarily powerful. You have no idea. Vanessa suddenly laughed sharply. Oh, please. He's not exactly some huge success. Bad move. Lena turned toward her slowly. The entire room leaned forward instinctively. Even the aliens went silent. You mean the man negotiating peace treaties between planets? Lena asked softly. The man 6 alien governments requested personally? Vanessa opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Lena tilted her head. Meanwhile, your biggest achievement this year was bullying a waitress into removing calories from pasta. Somewhere behind us, a bridesmaid fell off her chair laughing. Alien guards exchanged nervous glances. One whispered, the blonde female is losing the dominance battle. Retreat unlikely. Mom tried one last desperate defense. You don't understand our family dynamic. Lena nodded. Oh, I understand perfectly. You rewarded the loudest child and ignored the kind one because kindness looked weaker. That one hit hard enough to physically hurt. Because she was right. Completely right. And judging by the silence spreading across the tables, everyone else knew it too. Vanessa looked around the room desperately for support. Instead, she found relatives avoiding eye contact. Her husband drinking faster. My grandmother trying not to laugh. And aliens documenting humanity like we were emotionally unstable raccoons with Wi-Fi access. Then, the translator suddenly announced to the entire reception hall. Human female has successfully established alpha position. The DJ quietly turned the music off completely. The silence after Lena's words didn't last long. It never does in a human family gathering. Silence is just the loading screen before emotional chaos resumes. Vanessa was the first to break it. She laughed, sharp, forced, brittle. Oh wow, she said. So this is what this is? You brought a space nerd girlfriend to my wedding just to insult me? A few cousins made uncomfortable sounds like they were trying not to pick sides too loudly. Lena didn't even blink. No, she said calmly. I didn't bring anything. I responded. That alone made the air feel heavier. Across the room, Ambassador Threx made a low clicking sound. Escalation continues, the translator whispered. Human females are exchanging pre-combat verbal strikes. It's not combat, I muttered automatically. A smaller alien beside him tilted its head. Then, why does it feel like watching a planetary takeover? I didn't have an answer for that. Because, honestly, it kind of did. Vanessa stepped forward, heels clicking sharply against the floor. You always do this, she snapped, pointing at Lena. You act like you're better than everyone because you what? Work a normal job and pretend you're morally superior? Lena smiled slightly. That smile again. I felt a small instinctive urge to step between them. Not because Lena needed protection. Because I wasn't sure the venue insurance covered what she was about to do. She leaned back in her chair casually. I don't think I'm better than you, Lena said. I think your personality requires subscription fees and emotional buffering. A cousin spit out their drink. Someone behind us said, "Oh my God," like it was a prayer. Vanessa's husband quietly muttered, "I told you she was intense," into his glass. Vanessa turned on him instantly. Whose side are you on? He looked genuinely exhausted. I am on the side of surviving this decade. That line landed harder than anything else so far. Even I felt a little bad for laughing. But the aliens weren't laughing. They were recording everything. Threx leaned forward, claws clicking softly on the table. The younger female is defending the male by dismantling the rival female's social structure, he said. That's not what. Dominance achieved through psychological precision, the translator interrupted. No physical contact required. One alien scribbled furiously. Another whispered, human females are extremely efficient war units. Lena finally turned her attention fully back to Vanessa. You know what's interesting, she said. Vanessa crossed her arms. Enlighten me. Lena tilted her head slightly. You keep talking about success like it's a personality trait. But the only thing you've actually maintained consistently is dependency. The room went still again. Even the clinking of glasses stopped. Lena continued, voice steady. Your parents pay for your lifestyle indirectly, through guilt. Your husband covers your mistakes quietly. And you call it independence because nobody has had the courage to correct you. Vanessa's face tightened. That's not true. It is, Lena said simply. You just never had to face consequences long enough to notice. I felt something twist in my chest. Not discomfort. Not embarrassment. Something closer to realization. Because I'd lived in that shadow too long to fully name it. Vanessa turned sharply toward me. Are you seriously letting her talk to me like this at your wedding? Every eye in the room snapped toward me, including alien eyes. I froze. This was the part where I was supposed to mediate, diffuse, protect feelings, keep peace. Old habits tried to kick in. Then I felt Lena's hand lightly touch mine under the table. Not pressure, not control, just presence. So, I didn't deflect. I didn't smile, awkwardly. I just said the truth. She's not wrong. That was it. 3 words. But they detonated the room more effectively than anything Lena had said. Vanessa's expression broke for a second. Just a crack. Then anger rushed in to fill it. You're choosing her over your own sister? I exhaled slowly. No, I said. I'm choosing honesty over pretending this has ever been fair. A murmur spread through the guests. My mother looked like she might actually faint. Threx suddenly stood up fully. Emotional fracture detected, he announced loudly. Sit down, I groaned. But it was too late. The alien security team immediately activated defensive posture. Blue lights flickered across their armor. One of them raised a scanner. Civil conflict imminent, the translator declared. Preparing containment protocol. Half the room panicked. Someone knocked over a chair. A waiter dropped a tray. And in the middle of it all, Lena calmly took a sip of champagne like none of reality was collapsing around her. Vanessa pointed at her again, shaking. You're poisoning him against us. Lena looked up, and for the first time that night, her voice dropped slightly. Not louder, not angrier, just sharper. I didn't poison anything, she said. I just stopped letting him pretend being your emotional punching bag is love. That hit differently. Even the aliens stopped moving. Threx whispered something into his translator. The device responded. Human emotional loyalty structures are more violent than physical warfare. I stared at Lena, not because I didn't know she was smart. I knew she was brilliant, but because I hadn't realized how carefully she'd been watching everything around me. Every small dismissal, every casual insult, every time I laughed something off that shouldn't have been laughed off. She wasn't reacting now. She was correcting a long-standing imbalance. My grandmother suddenly spoke up from the far table. I always said she spoiled that girl too much, she muttered, taking a sip of wine. Now look at her, confused and loud. Vanessa snapped toward her. Grandma, What? Grandma shrugged. I'm old. I can say it out loud now. A few guests laughed nervously. The tension cracked slightly, but it didn't break.
Not yet.
Vanessa's husband suddenly stood up.
Slowly.
Like a man accepting fate. I can't do this, he said. Vanessa whipped around. Do what? He gestured vaguely at everything.
This.
All of this. I'm tired. The table went silent again. Even Lena stopped moving. Vanessa blinked rapidly. You're joking. I'm not, he said quietly. I've been trying to support you, but I don't even know who you are outside of arguments anymore. That one landed differently. Because it wasn't an attack. It was exhaustion. Pure emotional burnout. Vanessa looked stunned. For maybe the first time in her life, nobody rushed to fix the situation for her. Not mom. Not relatives. Not even me. The aliens, however, were extremely busy. Threx was now whispering into his recorder. Primary rival alliance destabilizing internally without external force, he said. Human bonding systems collapse under truth exposure. Lena leaned toward me slightly. Your family is kind of loud, she whispered. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. You think? She squeezed my hand. But predictable. That made me look at her. She smiled faintly. I knew exactly how this would go the moment your mother stood up. You planned this. No, she said. I prepared for it. That distinction mattered. A lot. Because I suddenly understood something uncomfortable. Lena wasn't destroying my family. She was just refusing to participate in the illusion they'd been maintaining for years. Vanessa slowly sat back down. Not defeated, but quieter. My mother looked between all of us like she was trying to find control and realizing it wasn't there anymore. And for the first time since the ceremony began, the alien stopped calling it a wedding. Threx said softly, "This is no longer mating ritual observation."
He paused.
Now it is societal restructuring event. I leaned back in my chair, and somehow, despite everything falling apart around me, I felt like I could finally breathe. Nobody really noticed when the music started again. Not at first, because everyone was still mentally stuck in the moment where Vanessa's husband admitted he was done. My mother looked like she had lost control of the entire universe, and a group of aliens decided my wedding was now classified as a societal restructuring event. But humans, as a species, are very good at one thing: pretending something didn't just break reality in half if there's food nearby. So slowly, awkwardly, the reception resumed. A fork clinked against a plate. Someone nervously laughed at something that wasn't funny. A waiter refilled glasses like nothing had happened. Even the DJ, after a long moment of hesitation, lowered the music again like he was trying to gently patch reality back together with sound. The aliens, however, were not recovering. Threx stood motionless near our table, watching the room like it had become a new species of ecosystem. His translator spoke softly now instead of loudly. Post-conflict human stabilization phase observed. One of the smaller aliens leaned in. Are they done fighting? I looked around. Vanessa was sitting stiffly, staring at her untouched plate like it had personally betrayed her. Her husband was gone. Quiet exit. No dramatic scene. Just absence, which somehow felt louder. My mother was still seated, but she wasn't speaking anymore. That was new. Lena, meanwhile, looked completely relaxed, like she had just finished organizing paperwork. She took a bite of dessert. Delicious cake, she said casually. I stared at her. You just ended a dynasty. She shrugged slightly. I corrected a narrative. That's not normal. She smiled. Your family wasn't normal either. I had no argument for that. Threx suddenly approached our table again, more carefully this time. Request clarification, he said. I sighed. Go ahead. Is the conflict resolved permanently or temporarily suppressed? Lena answered before I could. Depends if they learn anything. The alien processed that, then wrote something down aggressively. Human conflict resolution relies on emotional adaptation instead of enforcement of rules. Sure, I said. Let's go with that. But something in me still felt strange. Not bad. Not guilty. Just different. Because for the first time in my life, I hadn't stepped in to fix my family. I hadn't apologized for someone else's behavior. I hadn't absorbed blame just to make the atmosphere softer. I had just existed in truth. And Lena had stood beside me while I did it. That part hit harder than anything else tonight. Across the hall, Vanessa finally stood up again.
Slowly.
Not dramatic this time. Just tired. She adjusted her dress, looked around at the guests who were now pretending not to watch her, and let out a breath. "I'm going home," she said quietly. Nobody stopped her. Nobody clapped. Nobody argued. That silence was louder than everything else. As she walked out, one of the aliens whispered, "Exiled from ceremonial territory?" "No," I said. "She just left." The alien looked confused. "Without victory conditions?" I almost laughed.
Yeah.
Humans do that too. That seemed to deeply disturb him. Threx, however, looked more thoughtful than ever. "Fascinating," he murmured. "No clear winner, yet hierarchy has changed." I looked around the room. He wasn't wrong. Something had shifted. Not explosively, not dramatically, but permanently. My mother finally spoke again from her seat, voice smaller than before. "I didn't mean for things to get out of hand." Lena didn't even look at her when she replied. "They didn't get out of hand," she said. "They got exposed." That word lingered in the air. Exposed. Like something that had been covered for a long time and finally caught light. My mother didn't respond after that. And honestly, I think that was the first honest moment she'd had all night. Later, the reception blurred into something softer. Guests started dancing again, but the energy was different. Less performance. More release. Even the aliens eventually stopped treating it like a battlefield and started treating it like a confusing festival where emotions randomly detonated. One of them tried dancing. It went badly, but enthusiastically. At some point, Lena pulled me outside onto the vineyard terrace. The air was cooler there, quieter. The chaos of the reception felt distant now, like a storm we had walked out of without fully realizing it. She leaned against the railing. For the first time all night, she looked slightly tired too. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded.
Yeah.
A pause. Then she added, "Your family is exhausting." I let out a small laugh. "You could have warned me you were going nuclear in there." She looked at me. "I didn't go nuclear," she said. "I just stopped you from shrinking." That sentence hit differently. Because she was right. I had spent so long shrinking around my family that I didn't notice how normal it had become. "I didn't expect you to go that hard," I admitted. Lena shrugged slightly. "I didn't either," she said honestly. "But they kept giving me reasons." Another pause. Then she added, softer, "I don't like watching you disappear in rooms full of people who are supposed to love you." That one stayed with me. Long after the wedding. Long after the aliens. Long after everything else. I looked at her. "You know you scared the aliens, right?" She smiled faintly. "Good. They think you're some kind of psychological warfare specialist." "I mean," she said, "I did win." I laughed, then stopped. Because it wasn't just funny. It was true. Behind us, the reception lights flickered through the glass doors. Inside, I could see Threx still talking to two diplomats, gesturing at the guests like he was analyzing a newly discovered civilization. "They're going to write reports about this forever," I said. Lena nodded. "Good. Let them learn something useful." I looked at her again. "You really didn't have to do all that." She tilted her head slightly. "Yes, I did." That was all she said. Not dramatic. Not emotional. Just certain. And somehow that mattered more than anything else tonight. Inside, music got louder again. Laughter returned. Life resumed its strange rhythm. But something had changed permanently. Not just in my family. Not just in the guests. Even the aliens were different now. They no longer looked at humans like a puzzle. They looked at us like a warning label written in chaos and love and uncontrolled emotion. Threx appeared at the terrace entrance. "I am required to report findings," he said. I nodded. "Go ahead." He hesitated, then said, "Humans do not engage in mating ceremonies." I blinked. "We don't." He shook his head slowly. "No," he said. You engage in controlled emotional warfare disguised as celebration. Lena smiled beside me. That sounds about right. Threx looked between us. And yet, he added carefully, you form permanent bonds through it. I didn't answer immediately, because that part still felt strange. But Lena did. Yes, she said simply. We do. A pause. Then she glanced at me. And sometimes, she added, we protect the people we choose in the process. The alien nodded slowly, like that was the most important data point of the night. Inside, the music swelled. Outside, the vineyard lights glowed. And for the first time all evening, everything felt strangely, quietly settled. Not fixed, not perfect, just real.